There's a connection between movement and eating that's so obvious it's easy to dismiss. And by the end of our session, you'll understand this connection and why somatic movement can improve your eating. If you stick around till the end, I'll be sharing a body-based practice to help you enhance this connection by listening to your body's wisdom. I'm Jill, I'm an intuitive eating coach, and if you'd like to improve your relationship with food and your body, then you're in the right place. I don't necessarily have a history of dieting, but when I was much younger, my food choices were largely driven by my body, wanting my body to look a certain way, not necessarily by how I physically felt or my mental health. I was lucky though to have this pattern interrupted. It could definitely continue down a path of emotionally eating, dieting, restriction, and following external food rules. But the pattern interrupt came because I was lucky to be involved in dance and Pilates and yoga and involved in these things in a way that was actually quite healthy and somatic in nature. Remember, soma means the body as perceived from within. And so all of these practices that I was participating in had a deep connection to experiencing movement from the inside out, not the outside in. And that created a shift for me where I started connecting my physical body cues, for example, such as hunger and fullness, to being present in my body and body awareness in a much healthier way that wasn't strictly driven by aesthetics. So later, that's kind of a summary of my personal story. Later, professionally speaking, I was wanting to help people improve their relationship with food and their body, but it was in very traditional ways like counting calories or just being kind of conscientious about what you ate, but it was not helpful. It was really kind of based on what was the standard at the moment in terms of being professional as a health practitioner. You may know I have a background in also teaching Pilates and personal training, wellness coaching, and worksite wellness. But I feel like it was not until I came upon the intuitive eating methodology that it kind of connected all of that somatic-based movement practice and inward listening to a paradigm of eating that was also very much rooted in inward listening. If you're not familiar with intuitive eating, it's a paradigm that has concepts that are rooted deeply in self-care, and it's really basic, and that's what makes it challenging. So we focus on things like hunger and fullness, and can you recognize if you're hungry? Can you recognize if you're full? And listening inward to follow what sounds good to eat, what would be appropriate for us, rather than following external food rules or food messaging or food dogma, if you want to call it that. I think that it would be appropriate, super appropriate, to apply the term somatic to intuitive eating. We could maybe even call it somatic eating, because it is a practice in deep inward listening and building self-trust. Self-trust is quite interesting because if you've ever attended a movement or fitness class, I would say that it's actually the standard of practice to have the movement teacher encourage people to listen to their bodies. Specifically, like in a yoga class or a Pilates class or something that's a little bit more based in experiencing that movement from the inside. However, there is a major disconnect when it comes to the messaging that we receive and that we give people as practitioners when it comes to food. It's the exact opposite message. It's not listen to your body and trust your body. it's the opposite. It's don't listen to your body, follow these rules, whatever they may be at the moment, and don't trust yourself. You are absolutely a broken disaster when it comes to the way that you make choices and look after your food life. And that's very, very traumatic. There is a whole culture of trauma, I would say, regarding self-trust disruption that's been caused by food messaging and this inherent kind of distrust that we have potentially with ourselves regarding food. So recognize that there is, a disconnect, and it is not your fault. There is messaging about movement that says, listen to your body, trust yourself, stop if you need to. And regarding food, the messaging in my experience is quite different. Don't trust yourself. Don't listen to your body. Just let that sink in. And the irony is that self-trust and inward listening is the single most important ingredient for having a healthy relationship with your body and with food. And self-trust happens when we show up for ourselves. It happens when we look after ourselves in a way that creates a sense of safety, just as we would look after a young child, correct? And so this trust gets so disrupted, and it requires, kind of an acknowledgement that it needs attention and repair, and you can't repair it if you're disassociated from your body. So the kind of trauma repair work that goes into restoring a sense of safety and rebuilding trust with ourselves surrounding food, it's so fundamental, but it requires us being anchored in our body, and it requires practices that allow us to just do that, to practice being in our body, being with our emotions, being with our sensations, and being in the present moment. The present moment is the only place that we can really impact our trajectory and make improvements from. So self-trust is massive, and recognize as you go about your week, recognize the messaging surround it and the mixed messaging regarding movement and food. A simple body scan is a really practical somatic technique that we can apply to improving our relationship with food and building self-trust. So join me wherever you're at, seated, standing, lying down is perfectly fine. Just take a moment to close off your eyes and notice where your attention lies. Can you feel contact between your body and the floor, or a chair, or a sofa, or your bed? Right away, you'll be getting feedback about if you're even in your body. Can you find your breath? Again, right away, noticing if you're even present in your body enough to find your breath. No need to control it, just a noticing. And then just bring your attention to a general sense of checking in with your hunger signal. First, let's check in with the intensity of it on a scale from 1 to 10. How hungry do you feel like you are? 1 would be not at all, and 10 would be ravenous. Are you able to identify that? And then staying with that same awareness of hunger, where do you feel the sensation of hunger? Is it in your brain? Is it in your mouth? Is it in your throat? Is it in your digestive system? There's no judgment, just notice where that sensation is communicating to you from. Physical hunger versus emotional hunger typically communicates to us from our gut, our digestive tract. And then see if you can bridge the gap between the intensity of your hunger on that scale of 1 to 10 and where you feel the hunger in your body. And if that scale lands somewhere in the middle, like gently hungry, and the sensation lands somewhere in your digestive tract, your gut, your torso, there's a pretty good chance that you're genuinely physically hungry and needing to move in the direction of eating. So open your eyes with me. That's just an example of a really simple body scan technique that you can use. You can obviously compress it or expand it, but the takeaway message is to pause. Literally to pause, even if it's for 1 second. That would be 1% improvement in taking back control in terms of your own experience related to food, not your schedule, not what someone else said, not what your friend is doing, not what's popular right now in the fitness influencer realm, but just you. What do you need, and how can you build 1% of improvement into your self-trust and your relationship with food going forward? So that's just an example of a really basic body scan. You can use it, a few examples, you could use it maybe, first thing when you get up in the morning to kind of check in with where you're at regarding proximity to breakfast. You could maybe check in when you're out in a social setting and there's a lot of distraction and noise, both literally and metaphorically, to just kind of reconnect with yourself. You could use it in a more broader sense in terms of maybe planning some key meals for yourself for the week and reframe it in terms of what would be really nourishing and what sounds good this week. So I hope this was helpful. If you enjoyed this somatic practice and you would like more body-based practices, I've just completed a 7-day body reset, and it's 7 minutes and it's 7 days and it's all standing, so it's really accessible. It would literally be just as hard to not do it as to do it, and I'll leave that playlist at the end of this video, but it could be a really easy point of entry for you to start establishing a movement-based practice that just gets you into your body and gets you more connected to your body signals. So I hope that was so helpful. Please leave a comment so that someone else on this journey can be helped by your experience. So if you haven't figured it out by now, to state it simply, that obvious connection is the mind-body connection, and that's so obvious that you're probably going, well, yeah, of course, but again, it gets discounted. We get disrupted, we get distrusting with ourselves, we get distracted. So it's always about returning to ourselves and fostering a relationship between our body and our mind. Don't forget to check out that playlist about the 7-day body reset to get you inside your body. And I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Take care and bye for now.